Good morning, Randall.
Good morning, David. It's a great day.
A great day. That's what I hear.
we just keep believing it, buddy. It'll show up.
Yeah, keep saying it. Yeah.
Hey, you got a new series you're coming up with here at heartlightcharlotte.org is where everybody can get a hold of that, and it's called Karmic Relief.
Yes, it's actually an older teaching that's going to be made new. You know,
Oh,
it's really good, Randall, that we repeat some of these things of the past because where people were the first time, they're not there at all now. They're at a different level to receive it from a different level of consciousness.
well, I think that what we think they need is a reflection of us, right? It's what we
Always,
need too.
always. Yeah, that is so
It
true.
always is. And I remember when you first taught this series, you were talking, you relate to the pain body, the things that we experience that are uncomfortable. You know, the buildup of unresolved emotional issues is one of those. And how can this course help with emotional pain?
Well, it's going to make us aware of what we don't really want to be aware of, and that's kind of that human nature is what is not pleasant. I'll just ignore it, and maybe it'll go away. Well,
Uh,
we're going to find
yes,
out it does not go away, but it leaves its footprint. You know, like if you're walking down a beach and you're no
yes,
longer there, but you've left these prints on the beach, and that's what we're going to
yes.
be dealing with is some of those energetic imprints.
Well, and you and I have dealt with that in our natural and spiritual healing realms where people have consistent and constant pain, hoping that it'll just go away, you know, and not giving it attention. So, and how about the old stories? You know, you talk about old stories in the series.
Yes, that's one thing about the human brain. It's great to make up stories. And sometimes stories are just stories. Sometimes they're not factual at all, but we give our energy to them and start believing in them and we make even though they're not real stories, they become real to us. And
Hmm.
so therefore it's time to kind of get outside and look back in as an observer rather than being caught into the emotion of our stories.
Yeah, and sometimes instead of what is it you've said, instead of looking at our stories from a larger perspective, we actually become the story. We become the pain. Uh,
Yes.
Instead of staying outside of it, we go into it and become it. And so that's so limiting, right?
Don't you think maybe that's possibly what happens in the physical body when we get a pain or a disease or something in the physical? It's unresolved issues has finally made it all the way to that emotional, mental, and actually cellular level by becoming an etheric blueprint, which
Yeah.
cells kind of look at and follow.
Yes, I think that's so true. I've experienced that myself. That and sometimes it's really helpful to have someone like you or myself working with somebody or some of our natural and spiritual healers that are on the planet to help us, you know, deal with those things by not just treating the pain or the cause, but going back to the source.
The source of it, the core root. You know, I like to call it the core of it. Uh, let's talk just a minute, a little bit about what this course might help a person if
Okay.
they would do that,
Right.
and what it might solve in somebody's life. Repeating emotional reactions that feel bigger than the moment. In other words, sometimes we just get caught into the ego's illusion of something being a lot more significant than it really is because
Oh,
we're not,
yes.
yeah, we're not placing it in the bigger picture. And we're going to be
Yes.
looking at the bigger picture and where do we fit on the path of that.
Oh, it's going to be so beneficial for me because I'm in such a transition right now. So,
Well, join the club. And I think there's people listening to us that are saying amen right now because we're all, this is like planetary transition. It's not
yeah,
personal, just personal, but we're caught into something bigger than ourselves. But it begins with ourselves.
it does, doesn't it? And, you know, the thing that you offer at heartlightcharlotte.org and at David Hulse, that's HULSE.com, is opportunity to deliberately look at this and shorten the suffering,
I like I like
discreate it.
I like deliberately. I think that's what it's going to take, a consciousness of being, of choosing to be aware, kind of shining the light on some of the
Yes,
things we've suppressed in the shadow part of ourselves that Carl
yes,
Jung talked about, the shadow side.
yes.
People talk about going through the dark side of the soul. Well, when you get in there, you start finding things that you have suppressed, and that's coming up right now because of the new energy coming in.
Well, and if we go back to what the course can help with, your second thing says old stories that keep recreating the same content in different forms. What's that mean?
Well, it means if we don't take care of these things, that they and everything's energy, right?
Okay, right.
So those things are still energetic blueprints, and if we don't take care of them, they become what we call hungry.
Hmm.
They become hungry to be fed. And that's when we start attracting certain things into our world and certain people that start feeding that kind of thing. I'd recently just had a luncheon with somebody for 2 hours. The first hour was totally woundology. All we did was compare our surgeries and our
Yeah.
illnesses and whatever. And I thought, this needs to stop. We need to shift this conversation to a new
They're like,
story.
yeah, it's like an entity that wants to be fed or a pet, right?
That's what the pain body is. When the pain body gets hungry, watch out, because it starts looking for things that will feed it, like fear feeds it, or
Yes.
guilt, or confusion, and that type of thing.
Yes. And another thing, well, that leads right into the next bullet point is confusion between the authentic self and the pseudo self. It'll help with that, this course.
Yes, the word confusion is something I've always taught, because people think confusion is always a negative thing, but it's transitional, because son is the prefix of with, fusion. So when you're leaving one paradigm of how you
Yeah.
think of yourself to a new paradigm, and you haven't fused with that new image yet, that new story, then you're in confusion. That means you're on your way to
Yes.
normalize some new story.
Yeah. And the biggest thing I've experienced, and I am experiencing a measure of right now, is a sense of betrayal between the old self and my duties that I've been fulfilling, and creating space for the new self to manifest.
There you go. It's about the space, isn't it? I think I was just sharing with you before we went on today that the old little Christmas story of how that the Christ made it in was because there was room in the inn. So
Yes.
let's take that to room inside ourselves. And if our inner is full of chatter and perceptions and all of that kind of thing, there's no room for the authentic self to show up. So we got to clear it out, and that's one thing this series and workshop is going to help us do, to clear out and make sacred space, because we don't
Yes.
need to get it. We've already got it. We just need the space to remember it and recognize it.
Well, and we need to deliberately create that space. That's what relief is, right? That's what karmic relief is. Relief gives you space to create change.
Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
you talk here about the habit of feeding pain instead of feeding spirit, love, health, and peace.
Yeah. And two, we'll throw in a little Buddhist idea here that there's a difference in suffering and pain. You can have a pain, but suffering is mental. It's how we
Mm.
view the pain. So maybe we can look at our pain in a way that it's a different language, speaking to us about areas of our life that we have suppressed, that is showing up for balancing and healing at this time. And that's why there's a call for healers. And I do healers in quote, because I don't think we are healing anybody, but I think we're facilitating the inner healer.
Right.
But I think there are people more working with sound, vibration, tuning forks, bowls, energies, all of that kind of thing is showing up that's
Yes.
vibrational.
Well, and if people want a download each and every week on the Karmic Relief series, they'll have to go to heartlightcharlotte.org, and it's available there right now for a download. And then at 11 a.m. today, you'll be doing the beginning of this course. And then you'll be doing that for how many more weeks?
Six,
Looks
I
like 6 weeks.
believe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, 6 weeks beyond today. So a total of 7 weeks at heartlightcharlotte.org. And we're here at the Academy for Spiritual Awakening. We thank you for being with us today. And if you'd like a free sample and a membership experience, you can go to David Hulse, David, HULSE.com. Thanks, David. Have a great day.
Thank you, Randall. You too. Okay, we're clear.